Well, on to our big focus as Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistan education activist who's captured the global imagination, recovers in a UK hospital. People around the world today are observing Malala Day.
The latest images of 15-year-old Pakistani activist Malala Yousafzai recovering well at a hospital in Birmingham in the UK. And this image perhaps captures the essence of her struggle, the belief that girls too have the right to education, something that nearly cost her her life. Her activism began in 2008 when she was just 11. A year later, she was approached by the BBC to write a blog about her life under the shadow of the Taliban. She wrote under a pseudonym. She shot to prominence after the New York Times filmed a documentary on her life. Malala started giving print and television interviews and went on to win Pakistan's first National Youth Peace Prize last year. But a month ago, she was shot in the head by the Taliban when she was returning from school, an incident that had sparked outrage all over the world. For days, she was unconscious and critical. After her condition stabilized a bit, she was sent to the UK by an air ambulance loaned by the UAE. Ever since, thousands of cards, gifts and messages of support have been pouring in from across the world.
I'm awfully thankful to all peace-loving well-wishers of Malala Yousafzai who strongly condemn the assassination attempt on Malala, who pray for her health and who support the grand cause of Malala Yousafzai, that is peace, education, freedom of thought and freedom of expression. Malala is recovering well and wants me to tell you she has been inspired and humbled by the thousands of cards, messages and gifts that she has received. They have helped my daughter survive and stay strong.
Malala's story has gathered so much international attention that United Nations Special Envoy and former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown has declared November 10th Malala Day worldwide. He will hand over a petition with 1 million signatures to Pakistani President Asif Ali Zardari, urging him to improve access to education for both boys and girls. Meanwhile, thousands of Britons have urged their government to nominate Malala for the Nobel Peace Prize. Over 30,000 people have signed the petition in Britain. Similar campaigns are underway in Canada, France and Spain.
Malala Yousafzai has become a household name here in Birmingham. It's not just adults, but young children who have also been inspired by her story. And the campaign to get her nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize is also becoming more vocal. The kind of people she's looking to for support are standing right behind me. The one message that they have for Malala is, Go Malala!
Well, here in India, hundreds and hundreds of students have been writing to Malala Yousafzai letters of support, letters of encouragement, letters praying for her swift recovery. Radhika Iyer caught up with one of them in Bangalore.
Students of St. John's High School in Bangalore, among the several students who've written to Malala, but it's not just students who've been writing to her, it is people from all age groups who have been sympathizing with Malala. But more than sympathy, it seems that it is a huge level of inspiration that Malala has had. What were the contents of your letter when you wrote to her 2 weeks back? This was after she got shot?
Yeah. This was after she got shot. The contents were like we were sympathizing for her because she has at such a young age stood up and supported women education, which is very rare, and in such a country like that, definitely supporting women education and standing up at this time is a great thing.
If I may ask you, Abhishek, Malala of course began with a blog and then of course a documentary that was made over her, which became very popular indeed, and that in a sense told her story to several people. Were you always blogging? Have you begun blogging more? Do you find that a good medium to put your points across?
Yeah, I do feel blogging is a good medium to put my thoughts across. My letter was mainly sympathy for her, and I feel that if you shoot a 15-year-old girl in the head, the whole world should sympathize with her.
Should sympathize and to a great extent feel agitated. What is it that inspired you?
Mahatma Gandhi once said that if you educate a man, you educate only an individual, whereas if you educate a woman, you educate the whole family. This is a universal truth, and it goes for all times, all countries, all communities and all countries as well. So I think what Malala did was actually hands-on.
Well, we at NDTV had also asked school children to write letters for Malala to us, and we're going to deliver them to her family in Birmingham, where she's recovering at a hospital. Some of those letters on NDTV.com, as hundreds of you are already writing in. Do keep those letters coming. And joining me now in studio, one of those letter writers, Pratyaksha Jha. She's a student of Sardar Patel Vidyalaya in the capital. Pratyaksha, you wrote one of these letters of support. What was it that you really wanted to tell Malala at a moment like this?
First of all, when I heard her story, I was very moved, and I just wanted to tell her that being a 14-year-old and she's 15, so comparing my life to hers after reading about her life and finding out what it's been like, you know, that's when I realized the magnitude of everything that she's done and everything she's been through. So I just wanted to, well, sort of tell her how different her life has been from mine, and how her story has made me understand how education is a privilege, and we're so lucky that we get it without struggling.
When you think of a teenager like yourself actually being shot in the head by a gunman for actually just wanting to go to school, I mean, how does that make you feel, the fact that she's had to struggle to really recover consciousness? Even now she's struggling to read, to write. It's all been a massive struggle, and even when she goes back, if indeed she does, it's going to be a very uphill task. And, you know, how does that make you feel?
Well, firstly, it's quite sad that she's had to go through something like this just because all she wanted was, you know, education, to learn, and that is something that we all get without even having to struggle for it. And she's going through so much because of that. Secondly, one thing that I feel is that in the way that the Taliban are opposing her, and how she's, you know, how she wants education and how they're opposing that, just shows that they understand how much power there is in education, how it can, you know, basically.
I think that's a very important point. And you know, going forward, would you like to see Malala continue to be this kind of champion for women's education?
Definitely. I feel that, you know, she inspires all of us, and she makes everyone want to bring about a change.
And do you think, you know, she really in a way embodies the whole essence of the power of one, that even if one person stands out against a whole system, then they can make a difference?
Yes, I feel so. I mean, if you look at how everyone's reacting across the world to what's happened to her, and you know, so many people are supporting her, and so it's visible there that, you know, she's really moved so many people.
All right, Pratyaksha, thank you so much for joining us with your views. What an inspiration Malala Yousafzai is indeed to children, to teenagers, and indeed all of us the world over. The United Nations, in fact, declaring November 10th as Malala Day.